Welcome back to Occult Archives,
Yeah.
the only show that dares to crack open history's most,
Feared.
feared books.
Right. The ones that...
Right, yeah, those ones.
Yeah.
The ones that say don't read these, and we're like...
What happens if we do?
Exactly. And today,
Yeah.
we are diving into episode 137,
Okay.
which is The Alchemist's Code, unlocking the 12 keys of Basil Valentine.
All right. Yeah.
Basil Valentine, just the name even evokes this image, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Of a 16th century Benedictine monk, deeply steeped in
Alchemy.
the world of alchemy. And alchemy is so fascinating because it really blurs these lines, between science and philosophy and mysticism.
Right, yeah. And Valentine in the 12 Keys really embodies that kind of a crossroads.
Absolutely.
It's dense, it's allegorical, it's symbolic, and it's been interpreted in so many ways over the centuries. It's a perfect example of a book that people have been fascinated by, but also kind of put off by.
Oh, totally. It's definitely contributed to the mystery surrounding alchemy, for sure. So in this deep dive today, we're going to crack open the core ideas.
Yeah, let's do it.
Presented in the 12 keys.
All right.
Think of us as like your guide.
Your decoder rings, yeah?
Yeah. Through this very cryptic text.
Yeah.
We are not going to be doing any transmutations here today.
No.
In your living room.
Although that would be awesome.
It would be pretty cool.
But maybe another episode.
Yeah, maybe we'll get there. But for now, what we want to do is shed light on the mindset behind this alchemical pursuit.
Totally.
And understand why a book like this has been, studied and also maybe...
Yeah, a little bit feared, right?
Yeah, regarded with some caution, right?
Yeah.
So let's start at the beginning. Basil Valentine himself.
Sure. So Valentine actually gives us his motivations right up front.
Okay.
Right in the preface. He talks about this turning away from the evil world. And, he saw a lot of human suffering.
Yeah.
And so that disillusionment kind of pushed him towards a monastic life.
Yeah.
And dedicating himself to God.
Okay, so he's kind of seeking refuge.
He is, yeah.
And meaning in this life that he's chosen.
Right. And, in the monastery,
he
finds himself with a lot of time.
Right.
And rather than just being idle, he decides to study these natural secrets.
Okay.
And he was convinced that these secrets would help him understand eternal things.
I mean, he's really engaging with the philosophical traditions of his time.
Absolutely. He's seeking meaning in the natural world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just a purely scientific endeavor. It's
not at all. It's very spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he tells us about this anecdote about this sick brother in the monastery.
Yeah, sick brother.
And this is really fascinating.
And it is.
To me, at least.
Yeah.
Because he spends 6 years trying to heal this brother.
6 years, a long time.
A really long time using herbal remedies.
Right.
Like, he exhausts his knowledge.
Tries everything he knows about plants.
Yeah, of the plant world.
Yeah.
And
nothing works.
Nothing works.
Yeah.
And this failure, I think, is so crucial.
It is a turning point.
Yeah.
Because it makes him think, okay, maybe the power to heal isn't just in plants.
Right.
Maybe there's something else.
Yeah.
Maybe God imbued other substances with,
with power.
Virtues with powers.
Right. And this leads him
to
the discovery of this multicolored mineral substance.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
He finds this thing.
He extracts what he calls its spiritual essence. And he is able to heal his sick brother in days.
It's incredible, right?
I mean, this is a huge turning point.
It's a validation of his intuition.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
It's really profound. And
he talks about this the way he describes it. He talks about the strength of this spirit reviving his brother's prostrate spirit.
Yeah.
So it's not just a physical healing.
Right.
There's something else going on there.
Deeper.
It's like a revitalization of the life force.
And so for him, that success and his brother's gratitude and prayers, that becomes like the impetus to reveal this great secret.
Yeah, and this secret is the stone of the ancients.
Okay.
Which, if you're familiar with alchemy at all, you've probably heard of the philosopher's stone.
Yeah, legendary.
The legendary substance, the thing everyone wants to find.
Yeah.
And Valentine says that he's writing this not for himself to get rich.
Right.
Not for any personal gain.
He says he wants to make it accessible.
Yeah, he wants to help people.
Yeah.
People in the future who are, dealing with the, valley of sorrow.
Right. He talks about the immeasurable magnitude.
Yeah, he's not messing around.
Of his words.
Right?
He's not. He's not being hyperbolic.
He really believes in this.
Yeah.
He thinks it's really important to share this knowledge.
Okay, so now we have a picture of Basil Valentine.
We do.
And, like, his motivations for this work.
And his journey, right?
Yeah, his journey. So let's talk about this enigmatic great stone.
What is it?
Yeah, what is it?
Well, first of all, it's not something you just stumble upon.
Okay.
It's a gift, and it's a gift that's reserved for a certain kind of seeker.
Okay.
So...
who are these seekers?
Right, so it's the people who have a genuine love for truth.
Okay.
And who hate falsehood.
All right.
And who study diligently.
Mm-hmm.
And who really devote themselves to God.
Okay, so there's like a moral or spiritual element here.
Absolutely. It's not just an intellectual pursuit.
Yeah.
It's like you got to be the right kind of person to even be able to find this.
Interesting.
And he says, you know, you got to read the writings of those who came before.
Yeah.
Those who have already achieved this knowledge.
Yeah.
Because they can help guide you.
Right.
But only if you have also received divine grace.
So he's really relying on this idea of like a lineage.
He is, yeah, a tradition, a chain of knowledge being passed down.
And he says you can't just like dabble in this.
Right.
Right?
No, you got to be serious.
Yeah, you have to be really committed to it.
Yeah, and he compares the mind that's ready to the firm rock.
Okay.
That can really like
withstand
kick in all these teachings from different sages and kind of...
and make sense of them.
Yeah. Synthesize them into a coherent whole. Okay, so then he starts to kind of define what this stone is by telling us what it's not. Exactly. Yeah, he says, first of all, it's not from combustible substances. Okay. Not from plants. But I thought it was called... I know, right? You're thinking vegetable stone? Yeah. What's going on? Right. Well, he says the vegetable part is just referring to how it grows. Okay. And multiplies like a plant, not where it comes from. Okay, so it's more about its behavior? It's about its behavior. Than its essence. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And he also says it doesn't come from animals. Right. Because animals only reproduce their own kind. Yeah. They can't make something totally new. Right, they can't transcend their own. Exactly. Yeah. Right. So the stone has to come from its own seed. From its own seed? Yeah, its own special seed. Okay. And that's where things get a little bit complicated. Okay, I'm ready. All right, so he introduces this idea of two things and one thing, in which is concealed a third thing. Okay. And he says that this is like the male and female principles. Okay, so like a duality. Duality, yeah. Okay. Which is a really common idea in alchemy. Right. It's this like interplay of opposites. That's needed for creation. Right. You know, like the yin and yang. Okay. So he talks about how this metallic seed is created when this celestial influence mixes with astral properties. Okay. And they create an earth-like substance. Okay, so this is like the foundation. The primordial ooze. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and from this, we get the three principles. Right, the three principles. The internal soul, the intangible spirit, and the visible body. So like the body, mind, and spirit of a substance. Okay. And these three, when they're acted upon by fire, they turn into the three components of metals. Okay. Quicksilver, sulfur, and salt. Now, are these the like literal mercury and sulfur? That's a good question. Right. And that's something that alchemists have debated for centuries. Okay. But for Valentine, he's definitely talking about a philosophical mercury. Okay. And a philosophical sulfur and salt. Yeah. So it's not just the stuff you find in the ground. It's like the essence of those things. Okay. Yeah. So when those three are perfectly combined. Right. And that's the key word. They form the perfect metallic body. Yeah. They have to be in perfect harmony. Yeah. Which is the seed. The seed. Yeah. Right. Okay. So then he goes on to compare humans and animals. Okay. And he says that humans have rational souls. Yeah. And the promise of resurrection. Right. But animals don't. They don't have that. They don't. Okay. So when they die, they're just gone. Yeah. But humans have this potential for something more. To go beyond. Yeah, to transcend. Yeah. And he connects this to the idea of fixedness in metals. Yeah. And he says that gold is the only metal that's truly fixed. What does he mean by fixed? So fixed means that it can withstand fire. Okay. It doesn't change when you heat it up.
Yeah.
It doesn't burn away. It doesn't transform.
Yeah, it's stable. It's perfect.
Okay.
And then he talks about other metals like silver and copper and iron.
Yeah.
And he says that they have varying degrees of fixedness.
Okay.
So like silver is pretty fixed.
Yeah.
But it's not as fixed as gold.
Right.
And then copper is even less fixed.
Okay.
And iron is like the least fixed.
Okay, so there's like a hierarchy.
There's definitely a hierarchy, yeah. Of metals based on their fixedness.
Okay, so then he brings up this idea of a liquid key and dry water.
So the liquid key is like the celestial influence, the spiritual side.
Yeah.
And the dry water is the earthly substance.
Okay.
And he says that these are one thing from 3, 2, and 1.
Okay, what does that mean?
So it's like they're all connected.
Yeah.
They're all part of the same underlying unity, even though they seem different.
Okay.
And he compares it to a husband and wife coming together to create a child. Right. So it's this idea of like two seemingly opposite things uniting to create.
Yeah, to create something new.
Something new, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at the end of this section, he says, I don't want to be too explicit here.
Yeah, he's like, I can't tell you everything.
Right.
I'm not allowed to.
Like, it's forbidden.
It's forbidden.
Divine decree.
Divine decree, exactly.
And also, I'm afraid that...
And what if the wrong people get this knowledge?
Right, it could be misused.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is really common in alchemy.
Yeah.
This idea of, like, veiling the knowledge.
Right.
Hiding it.
So it doesn't fall
it.
into the wrong hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this brings us to...
The 12 keys.
The 12 keys.
All right.
The heart of the Alchemist's Code.
The heart of it, yeah.
Now, we have to be careful here, right?
Oh, yeah. Because these are not...
This is not a recipe book. It's not like, follow these steps.
Right. Yeah.
And you'll get gold. They're symbolic.
They're allegorical.
Right.
They're meant to be interpreted.
So think of them as like metaphorical guides.
Guides, yeah.
Right? That are meant to illuminate
the
alchemical process on multiple levels.
Right. So there's the practical level, but then there's also this philosophical, psychological. It's all intertwined.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So each key kind of offers a unique perspective,
a different angle
on the transformations involved. Okay. So let's start with the first key.
All right. So the first key.
What's going on here?
He's emphasizing the importance of starting with pure substances.
Okay.
No impurities.
Right. So like a doctor cleansing the body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to get rid of the bad stuff before you can start healing.
Okay.
And he uses this allegory of a king and a queen.
Okay.
So the king represents pure gold.
Okay.
And the queen represents this like immaculate principle.
Okay.
The pure essence.
Okay.
And then there's this gray wolf.
Okay.
Which represents Saturn or impurity. And the wolf eats the king.
Okay.
Which is like dissolving the gold into its base components.
Right.
But then the wolf gets thrown into the fire.
Okay.
And it burns to ashes.
Right.
And the king is liberated.
So the king is purified.
Yeah, he's purified.
Okay.
But then this happens again.
It happens again.
Yeah, 2 more times.
Okay, so it's not like a one-time.
It's not a one and done.
Yeah.
It's a process.
It's iterative.
It's iterative. Yeah, you got to keep purifying.
Okay, ultimately, it all happens.
The lion shows up.
Okay.
Which is like the symbol of perfect gold.
Yeah.
And the lion kills the wolf.
Okay, so good triumphs over evil.
Good triumphs over evil.
Or purity over...
Purity over impurity, yeah.
Purity, right.
And this purified substance is now a golden fountain.
Okay.
And it's got all these amazing healing properties.
Yeah.
It can cure diseases. It can renew you.
Wow.
But he says you got to be careful.
Okay.
Because it can still be contaminated.
So even though it's pure...
Even though it's pure?
It's vulnerable.
Yeah. It's like if you graft a healthy branch onto a sick tree.
Yeah.
The sickness can still spread.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So you got to keep it protected.
Interesting.
And then he ends the first key with this image of the king going on a journey through 6 regions.
Okay.
And finally settling in the 7th.
What do you make of that?
Well, it's open to interpretation.
Oh,
but I think it's about like the stages of the alchemical work.
Right.
You know, these different steps you got to go through.
Right.
And ultimately, you reach this final goal.
The 7th being the final.
Yeah, the 7th being the completion.
Okay.
Yeah.
The culmination? Okay. So the second key.
The second key is all about variety.
Okay.
He says that just like you need
Yeah.
different materials to build a palace. You need different elements and processes in the alchemical work.
Okay, so it's not just about...
It's not just one thing.
Like one magical ingredient.
That's not a simple recipe.
Yeah, it's more complex than that.
Yeah, it's like an orchestra.
Right.
You need all the different instruments to create the symphony.
Okay.
And he compares this to the ebb and flow of the sea, which is influenced by the moon.
Right. So there's like a cyclical nature.
Yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah.
Everything's influencing everything else.
Okay.
And then he uses this image of a bride getting dressed up for her wedding.
Okay.
But then when she actually does the ceremony, she's naked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's like you got to strip away all the superficial stuff to get to the essence.
To the bare truth.
Yeah, the bare truth.
Okay.
And then he talks about Apollo and Diana, which are the sun and the moon, or gold and silver.
Yeah.
And he says they get washed with different waters.
So different.
Different purification methods.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the second key, what happens?
The king and the queen get naked.
Okay.
And they get in a bath together. And the bath is made of two things that seem opposite.
Yeah.
But they actually purify each other.
So it's like another...
It's like that interplay of opposites again.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then to really drive the point home...
Right.
He talks about an eagle and a dragon.
An eagle and a dragon.
Hanging over a fire.
Yeah. And they create this fiery spirit that melts the snow.
Okay.
And makes a mineral bath.
So again, like there's an interplay of opposites.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Creating something new.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So the third key.
The third key.
What's he talking about here?
So this one's about overcoming fire with water.
Okay.
And then the fiery sulfur emerges.
Okay.
And the king gives his strength and color to the water. It's like a painter using bright colors.
Okay. So he's using a lot of analogies.
He is, yeah. He's trying to make it
help us
understandable.
Understand, yeah.
Right. And he says that this special sulfur that we're looking for, it doesn't burn at first.
Okay.
But then when you prepare it correctly, it gains this fiery brilliance.
Okay.
And then it can give its color to the imperfect metals.
So it's kind of like transforming them.
Transforming them, yeah.
Right.
Elevating them.
Okay.
And he says that this sulfur, it's found in a substance that's been absorbed.
Okay.
And then rejected by the salt sea.
Okay.
And then later exalted.
Why?
So it's like this process of...
Up and down.
Yeah, up and down.
Yeah.
Death and rebirth.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he brings up the pelican.
The pelican, yeah.
What's going on with the pelican?
So the pelican was known for feeding its young with its own blood.
Right.
And he compares this to the tincture.
Okay.
Which is like the ultimate goal of alchemy.
The rose of the masters.
The rose of the masters.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like this life-giving substance that comes from a sacrifice.
Okay.
And then he tells this weird story about a cock and a fox.
Lay on me.
So the cock swallows the fox.
Okay.
And then it drowns.
Okay.
But then it gets revived by fire.
Right.
And then the fox swallows the cock.
Okay. Hey.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to unpack.
It is, yeah. And I'm not even sure I fully understand it.
Yeah.
But I think it's about this, like, cyclical process of death and rebirth, transformation.
And the interplay of these different forces.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the third key.
That was the third key.
The fourth key.
The fourth key.
What's he got for us now?
So this one is about decomposition.
Okay.
And reduction to earth as a necessary step for new generation.
All right. So it's like the idea of you have to break something down.
You got to break it down.
Yeah.
To build it back up.
Create something new.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he calls Earth the balm of nature.
Okay.
And the salt of the sages.
Okay.
So it's like the foundation of everything.
Yeah.
And he uses this image of the world being judged by fire. And then the phoenix rising from the ashes.
Okay. Another like death and rebirth.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a common theme.
Yeah.
And the phoenix carries this tartaric substance that opens the royal chamber.
What's the royal chamber?
Well, it's a metaphor
for
the hidden potential within matter.
Okay.
It's like the secret that you're trying to unlock.
Yeah.
And then he talks about a new heaven and a new earth emerging from this fire.
So there's like a
renewal.
Yeah, transformation.
Transformation, yeah.
Okay.
And he uses some examples from everyday life.
Okay.
Like a glass blower using fire to melt sand and make glass.
Right.
Or lime being made from stones that have been heated in a fire.
Right.
So it's like he's showing us that transformation happens all around us.
Yeah.
In nature and in human crafts.
Okay. And he says that you can extract salt from ashes.
You can.
And then potentially restore the original form.
If you keep the sulfur and mercury separate.
Okay. So it's like you're not creating something new.
Right. It's not creation out of nothing.
Yeah.
It's more like you're evolving something.
Transforming, yeah.
Transforming.
Yeah.
From a prepared seed.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And then he ends the fourth key by talking about the importance of salt.
Yeah.
He says that salt gives things form.
Okay.
It helps them coagulate.
Mm-hmm.
It prevents decay.
Okay.
And he says that the salt that comes from ashes,
yeah,
it's really potent.
Okay.
But you have to extract the inner spirit from it.
So there's like a...
Yeah, there's like a hidden power.
Yeah, a hidden potential.
Yeah.
In that salt.
Yeah.
Okay, the fifth key?
The fifth key is all about the life-giving power of the earth.
Okay.
And the spirit that nourishes it.
Okay.
So he says that minerals grow in the earth's womb.
And they're nourished by a spirit.
Okay.
That comes from the stars.
So it's like a...
Yeah, like a cosmic connection.
Yeah. Expert speaker.